set.
Hey everyone, I'm Travis Guillory in the Shape Your Future Healthy Kitchen with Chef Valerie from the OUTU School of Community Medicine. How's it going today?
Great, thank you.
So we're dealing with a lot of squash and pumpkin and that kind of stuff because we're getting into fall. So what are we going to be making today?
So this is just a really simple saute that does take advantage of those fall fruits and vegetables. So apples, butternut squash, curly kale, but you could use other types of kale, garlic, onion, and then we're going to add some garbanzo beans. So it's just a really nice saute that you could use as a side dish. You could put some grilled chicken or fish beside it, but you could also serve it over barley or another intact grain. So that's like a whole grain, and it would be a meal, a whole meal.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some onions and garlic already sauteing, and this is a couple of apples that are just chopped up, and you can see they're kind of a large dice. And if we had more time, we would want these apples to get some really nice caramelization on them, because the more something is cooked and it's caramelized, starts turning brown, that equals more flavor. So some good caramelization on the apples and some good caramelization on the butternut squash. So this butternut squash, you can see that I've cut it in half and then I peeled it, and of course you would scoop out the seeds if you're using this end. But if you don't want to go to all that trouble, you can buy butternut squash already chopped up in the produce section as well as the freezer section.
Oh, wow, so you got some options there.
Right, so don't let that be a reason that you don't make a dish, because most things you can find in the freezer section. And we opt for frozen over canned because there's much less sodium in the frozen foods, and they're just better quality.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so these are just gonna sizzle away and caramelize a little bit, and after they get nice and soft and caramelized, then we're gonna go ahead and add some garbanzo beans or chickpeas. And so these are a low sodium product, but even so, I've still rinsed these, so drain and rinse to remove 50% of the sodium.
Yeah, and I noticed you use a lot of beans in all of your dishes that you make. Why is that?
So beans are very filling, they're very affordable, so even if you buy them canned or dry, they're very, very inexpensive. And one of the other great things about beans is that if you're trying to watch your total sugar intake, one serving of beans, or each serving of beans that you eat, reduces your risk for diabetes by 13%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's because they're so high in fiber. So so you're gonna see us using beans most of our segments.
Yeah.
And the reason is because we try to incorporate as many beans as we can.
Interesting.
Yes.
Good to know. Good facts. I always learn something new whenever you're here. It's like I get a whole culinary education whenever you're here.
Okay, so these are just going to caramelize, and again, you're going to want to get a little bit of color on the beans too. And so as these caramelize and get nice and toasty and brown, you can start adding in the kale, and the kale is going to break down a little bit. It's going to get softer, and the more that you move that around, some people associate kale with being a little bit bitter, but the more you move it around and like physically agitate it, it's going to lose some of those bitter compounds that people think they don't like. So this is going to soften and get bright green, but you're going to add about a bunch of kale, but it reduces in size by about 2/3.
Right, it's going to shrink a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to shrink really a lot. And so we have some salt and pepper. I'm just going to add like a pinch of pepper, probably 1/4 of a teaspoon. And then normally we'd want to measure our salt, but I'm just going to do a couple of pinches, no more than 1/2 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. And so kosher salt versus table salt, kosher salt is going to have less sodium per teaspoon, only because the grains are larger. So it's just because it's bulkier.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so just be sure that when you read our recipes, it says kosher salt, you want to use that kosher salt because it does have less sodium per unit.
So how long are we going to cook that down until it's finished?
This is going to cook another 15 minutes or so, and we probably would have added those ingredients a little bit more slowly, but overall it's going to cook 15 to 20 minutes.
Awesome. And then your finished product over here, it's like a salty sweet kind of mix there, so you got some variety of flavors. Once again, everything that we cook here in the Shape Your Future Healthy Kitchen is available on our website, kjrh.com. So if you want any of the recipes that you see here in our kitchen, head over to our website and enjoy some stuff like this. Super simple stuff to make and also really good for you.